Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football early Monday morning. The Miami commitment sweatshirt coming back on. Four-star defensive back JJ Dunnigan committing to Miami, and I absolutely love this kid. Now, late Sunday night, JJ Dunnigan commits to Miami. Now, I was at a dinner, so I couldn't hop on and record, and I was like moving in my chair, so excited to talk about this kid Monday morning. As a Michigan fan, I'll say this little bit salty. Michigan was going really hard at JJ Dunnigan at certain times over the last couple of months. Miami comes in late and gets this one done. Now, the biggest storyline here is I think a premier prospect at a position Miami needed to address. Now, JJ Dunnigan is listed as a cornerback according to 24/7 Sports. Miami's recruiting him to play safety. And I think to the Miami fans who follow this stuff closely, we know Miami needed another safety in the 2026 cycle. Well, I don't think there was a better one available than JJ Dunnigan. Now, where do you start with the value that JJ Dunnigan provides? To me, athletic profile. Freaking love it. I mean, 6'2", 190, 10'9" in the 100-meter dash. He has size, he has length, and he has speed. Like, we're betting on some serious traits that JJ Dunnigan brings to the table. And I think what I love about him most as a football player is the versatility that he gives you. I mean, number one, this kid could play cornerback. I mean, when you're 6'2", 190, sub 11 in the 100-meter dash, you're going to get a look at the boundary cornerback position. But even as a safety, I mean, think about all the things he's capable of doing. One, this kid's big. Like, he's 6'2", 190. He looks really physically imposing. Then you turn on the film, he plays really physically imposing. This is a guy that can come up into the box and support the run at a high level. But at the same time, he goes 10'9" in the 100-meter dash. You want to play him in the deeper third, like cover one, single high safety, ball hawk, go find the football, run, chase, tackle. JJ Dunnigan can do that too. It's hard, I should say, to find safeties that can provide you value all over the football field. JJ Dunnigan's one of those guys. I think he can operate in man coverage too. And so there's nothing you can't ask JJ Dunnigan to do. Why I think that's so big for Miami is, look, man, Miami's building. I've been very critical of Mario Cristobal at times. I continue to be very critical of Mario Cristobal, but I'll say this about what he's doing that's really impressive is he identified a weakness on this roster last year, and that was in the secondary. And boy, has he fixed that immediately. Whether it's grabbing guys in the portal, whether it's hitting with guys at the high school ranks, JJ Dunnigan has the opportunity to come in what is a really loaded secondary for Miami. And you're going to have the opportunity to play him at multiple different positions, which makes it easier to get this kid on the football field. Going to get into JJ Dunnigan, but look, I want to talk more about where Miami is going in the 2026 cycle, because I'll say this, they're looking to close in a big time way. Before we get into it, as always, the Miami fans, appreciate you guys. And man, the amount of support this fan base shows to the boys when we do these commitment episodes, when we talk recruiting in general, it's amazing. It is something I love about this sport, and the amount of support this fan base shows the boys, amazing. Appreciate you guys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And if you're a Miami fan that likes this stuff, and look, I know y'all love it. I see y'all in the comment section. It's going to get busy over the next couple of weeks. Miami is turning it up for a multitude of different guys, and that's what I want to get into. Now, we take a look at Miami in the 2026 cycle and say, number one, that commitment from JJ Dunnigan makes us feel heck of a lot better about that safety position, and I don't think they're done. I think they're still going after Blake Stewart. Now, what I love about that is JJ Dunnigan, Blake Stewart, kind of two different kind of prospects at the safety position. The JJ Dunnigan, physical freak, man. I mean, long, big, fast. Blake Stewart, a little bit less physical traits, but you turn on the film and, my player comp was a little bit of like Cam Kitchens. What I mean by that is, like, he's not as big, he's not as fast as JJ Dunnigan is. But boy, does this kid get the sport. Just seems to be at the right place at the right time. And that matters, especially at the safety position. You bring in JJ Dunnigan and Blake Stewart, you're kind of getting the best of both worlds. You're getting a really, really heady defensive back in Blake Stewart. You're getting a really freaky defensive back in JJ Dunnigan. It's kind of how you want your safety class to look like. Now, where else does Miami decide to go? It sounds like they're going to continue to add bodies on the defensive line. And I'm an absolute fan of it because I look at this Miami defensive line and say, what you're getting from Ruben Bain, what you're getting from Akeem Mesidor, what you got from Justin Scott over the weekend against Syracuse, man, when you have a dominant defensive line, it changes how you play defense. And it's really hard to build the defensive line in the portal because there's not that many difference makers that enter the portal. Make sure you get him at the high school ranks, and that looks like what Mario Cristobal is going to try to do. Now, who I want to talk about right off the bat, and I really like this kid, DeAnthony Lafayette. You know, to the Miami fans who've been rocking with the boys way back to the summer, I was a little bit surprised that Miami was not going after this kid harder back in the summer, and he ends up committing to LSU. Now, since then, he's backed off his commitment. It sounds like Miami's going full court press for this kid. Now, let's address the obvious concern, and that is 6'1", 230, specifically 6'1", right? That is a very, very short measurement for an edge rusher. Yes, that's true. He also has 33-inch arms. Like, this kid's long. And so I'm not that concerned about him being a little bit short because he has the adequate length. In fact, that's almost a benefit where you have length. You can use that length as an edge rusher. But at the same time, you're 6'1", you can play with good leverage. You're kind of hard to move around because of that low center of gravity. I think DeAnthony Lafayette being short, but having the length of somebody that's 6'4" can be a massive benefit. And then here's the second part about this. He's just a good football player. Like, I am betting on what the film tells me, and I am betting on what the high school production tells me. He had 17 and a half sacks as a junior. Is damn near going to reach that number, might have actually already reached that number as a senior. You turn on the film and say, I mean, this kid's born to get after the passer. It feels a little bit, and he's not going to be the same player, but feels a little bit like Ruben Bain a couple of years ago. You know, like Ruben Bain was not a kid that had elite measurements. A little bit shorter, a little bit more compact, a little bit sawed off, didn't have the length of a guy like Marquise Lightfoot. Ruben Bain was a damn good football player. And like at some point, sometimes you just got to trust the football player you see at the high school ranks. And I get leaning into athletic profiles. There's a time and place to do that. But you also got to bet on good football players. Ruben Bain, we knew was a good football player back then. DeAnthony Lafayette, to me, a damn good football player. I'm going to bet on him. I would love to see Miami. And we'll break down his film if he does commit because, boy, does he is, I think, has the ability to be an absolutely elite pass rusher coming off the edge. Now, here's another name that intrigues me on the defensive line, and he very well might be a Miami commitment too. Isaac Chukwura, Penn State commitment from the state of Delaware, 6'2", 265, 82-inch wingspan, much more of a developmental prospect. You know, there's a reason he has those traits and is still a 3-star prospect. He turned on the film, he's a bull in a china shop. Like, does not really totally know what he's doing yet as a football player. He's long. He's a powerful kid. He can bend a little bit. I think he can play at the 3-tech. But we'll kind of see where he slots in. But I think you have some position flex and versatility with this kid on the defensive line. Well, he's one of those kids that you probably just going to want to bet on and see what he looks like come year 2 and year 3. We've seen Miami do that, and it pays off in certain times. I would do that with this kid. And then the last kid, Logan Nagel from New Jersey, he's committed to Pitt. 6'4", 280. You turn on the film, uses his hands really well, does some dirty work, eats up some double teams, can use there is some athleticism to Logan Nagel as well. You know, how I would describe Logan Nagel as a guy like Isaac Chukwura, who we just talked about. little bit more high upside development. Logan Nagel, a little bit more of just a, hey, I don't know if he'll ever be a top 50 NFL draft pick, but he'll probably be a damn solid football player for you. This kid's tough as nails. And so I like it. I wouldn't mind adding him to the class either. Miami's got a lot of options on the defensive line. And look, I as always am a fan of throwing bodies at the defensive line. There are other positions that you can address in the portal. Defensive line's not one of them. So if you like a kid at the high school ranks, in my opinion, it makes sense to go out and get him. I want to offer one thing I've been thinking about over the last 24 hours. That's Derek Cooper. And I get it, a polarizing figure for a lot of Miami fans. It was a guy that Miami clearly has really liked throughout the process. It sounds like Derek Cooper obviously is committed to Texas right now, maybe a little less interested in Miami right now. Would it make sense for Miami to push their chips in for Derek Cooper? Now, 2 weeks ago, I didn't really support that way of thinking. I thought, hey, we got a deep and young running back room as it is. It's a position you can address in the portal. I will say this, though. The more I think about it, the more I think, hey, Derek Cooper has the chance to be, and we know this about Derek Cooper. Derek Cooper is one of the best running backs in this class, and I think has the ability to be a very special running back in college. With what we saw from Gerard Pringle in the fourth quarter of that Syracuse game, just a running back with a little bit more juice, would it make sense to go out and get a guy like Derek Cooper? And it's not a shot at Mark Fletcher. It's not a shot at Marty Brown. It's not a shot at Jordan Lyle. All very solid running backs, but I'm not sure if they're elite. I look at Derek Cooper and say he has the chance to be elite. And with how Miami is recruiting the offensive line, with how Miami wants to be a team that wants to run the football, having a special running back, not just good, but potentially a great running back, would that make sense for Miami? I think it might. And I'll say this, Derek Cooper ends up committing to Miami. He might be the best back on this roster immediately as a true freshman. Something to think about, because I think there's a lot of good on Miami's running back room. I'm not sure if there's great. I think Derek Cooper has the chance to be great. And with how Miami wants to run the football, I wouldn't hate having a great running back there. I mean, you got to get a guy like Derek Cooper. He's having the ball in his hands 20 plus times a game. Just the thought there. We'll close it out. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. Would love to hear the Miami opinions on the Derek Cooper take, because I'm still kind of mulling that over in my mind, but I wanted to put it out there. We'll talk about it a little bit more over the next couple of weeks. Appreciate you guys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later.